This is Irontrader, and this is Midday Trading. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a couple seasonality charts. First is going to be the Dow and then the S&P. And then we'll take a look at some tech stocks, some Apple, NVDA, Meta, and Google. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy, selling stock, commodity, ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, here we have a seasonality chart of the Dow. Now, I show you this all the time. You can go right to equityclock.com and you can get anything on seasonality. I don't care what it is, from gold to silver, oil, crude, natural gas, whatever you want to do. But today we're going to take a look here at the old Dow. Okay, but I want you to take a look at these, and I'm trying to drum this into your head that you have to try to pay attention of what actually goes on, over a period of the 20-year period. Now, we've had this good May here, a run all the way up into the May. It was a really good bullish run. But now what we do is we get this like a spike kind of situation in June, but you notice that we're going to be selling off here, okay? So always remember, a sell-off is coming. When you look at these charts, you're at nosebleed territory, okay? So I'm just giving you a warning now. I've been telling you this for about 2 weeks. You are going to get a sell-off here, okay? And now look at today, look at the volatility, and look at the VIX spiked right up here nice. You're sitting at 2210, but it got all the way as high as 2553 today, okay? So just remember, with the whole tariff situation and everything that's going on, you are going to get a sell-off. So let's just take a look here. So after we had this rally, then we can do is we can get unsettled down here and we can come all the way down to June, okay? Now, this is your buying opportunity here to come back into August. We have like a sideways action. You got to watch out that September, October area, but then we get a nice rally into the end of the year. Now, when you look at all these charts, I'm going to show you the S&P next, they're all pretty much the same. But again, we are going to get a good pullback here. I'm not saying you're going to go back to new lows. That's not what I'm saying. But again, we don't know what's going to happen. But you can see by today, the volatility, as soon as you get any kind of news, the reaction is just selling right off hard. Okay, so now let's take a look here at the S&P. Okay, we look at the S&P here. It's pretty much the same kind of a chart. Okay, so we had that nice rally up here, comes up here in May, and then we have this good, it's kind of like a sideways dip action here. But then again, we can't get fooled in here. We want to get, it's going to come down, and you're going to have this sell-off here down in June. Okay, now again, it doesn't work every time. But again, when you're at these nosebleed areas like we are here, you're at a very, very overbought condition. It isn't going to take much like it did today, a little bit of news, and it comes tumbling down. However, you always want to watch in June as a buying opportunity here to take this into like a sideways kind of action. Got to always watch October because that's a killer. Okay, and then what we do is then we have a nice good rally into the end of the year. So we got to see how this all shakes out. So do yourself a favor, go to equityclock.com, or you can go on my playlist. I got them right there too, on anything that you want on for seasonality. Okay, let's take a look here now at Apple and NVIDIA. Okay, here we have Apple stock here. Now, it's getting hammered here today because the old T-Man says if he doesn't build in America, he's going to put a 25% tariff on them. Then he's going to talk about putting 50% tariffs across the board. So, again, you can see the volatility. Now, Apple, this stock right here, when you look at the chart, this is nothing to write home about. See how NVIDIA, we had this series of lower highs all the way down, but then it reversed, okay? We never got no reversal here with Apple, okay? We just have high, lower high, lower high, lower high. You never broke that downtrend situation, okay? And now we're just falling right off a cliff. So what you really want to watch is watch this price channel, 193.25, that's going to be key, okay? Then we can come right down here to the bottom of this candle right here. You're looking at 189.81, and then we just follow these candles all the way down. 186.06. We have 183 level. We come down here. We have 174.62, and your big retest down here at 169.21. How I trade this is I trade Apple. It's just not my kind of stock. It's not much movement, so I trade this basically 4 times a year. So what I do is I buy this maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks ahead of time when it's right down in the old toilet here, okay? And then what I do is I run it up into earnings, and then I sell it the day of the earnings, okay? Because it just seems like you look at it, and it's just like a go nowhere kind of a situation, okay? You're at such a big high multiple there now. How far and how fast can this thing move kind of a situation, okay? So I do that 4 times a year, dump it out, make good money, and that's the trade that I do like on Apple. Okay, so now what we're watching, I say just watch this key price channel, 193.25. If that's lost, we're going to be following these candles all the way down until we get to that retest. Now, upside, we left this gap, okay, because it just gapped down. So 197.70. Okay, there's your gap, 199.70. There's your fill. Okay, then we all look at the top of this, 202.75. Then we're going to start running into this 205, 206 area. You got your 8-day, 21-day, 50-day. Everything is jammed up right there. If you can get above that, then we can go to that 214 level, possibly 221, possibly 225. But what is it going to be the catalyst of taking it there? That's the key, okay? That's what you have to look on here on Apple. You're so big now, it's like trying to turn a ship. 1,000-foot ship. It's not going to turn like overnight. That's the key. So this one here, I trade this 4 times a year. It's okay. But I'm going to jump into this. For what reason? There's way better stuff out here than what this is on the old Apple here. Okay. So just watch this price chart. We started losing this. Then we're just going to create it, and we could retest that 169 very, very easy. Upside, you have so much resistance here, unless you're going to take some kind of a catalyst to break on through. Now, you can see even on the run-up, we ran all the way up here. We made that nice high up, that 214.56, and then it was trying to consolidate, just couldn't do nothing, and now we're just selling right on off here, okay? Now, this is not oversold yet. This is only sitting at 39. This could go all the way down to this level here very easily. Your green over your red. I don't see a whole lot here. If you like Apple, you can hold it, collect a dividend, that kind of thing like that. That's all fine. But if you're trading this here, it's not really a good, what you call a trading stock, okay? Now, NVIDIA, this is a good one here. However, the earnings now are coming out on the 28th, so you got to be very, very careful with this one here. That's going to be next Wednesday. We got to see how this all shakes out. Now, I got a long position in NVIDIA, and I trade this daily. Now, on that long position, I've been selling out here when I was up at that 137 area. I sold a third of my position, so I'm not really. A lot of times it's the reaction to the news, okay? So here's the previous earnings, okay? Came right on out here, and then we just sold right on off. So a lot of times with these earnings, it's not really working. However, we have this high, lower high, lower high, lower high. But now we broke that trend, okay? But now we're kind of like sitting in no man's land here. So really the upside, what you need to do is got to get back above that 133.90, that's your 8-day. And then we have that retest at 137, okay? So if you can get above that, then we have a lot of nice good targets up here, okay? 138.59. We just bring this price channel across here. You got a 141 level, and then we come up here. You got 143. And then we come up top of this candle here. You got 148. We come all the way to the left of the chart here. We're looking at 152 and then 153.13. Now, eventually, I think you're going to break that 153 over time, and I think you're going to head towards that 200 area. It's just not going to be right today. Now, remember, when the earnings come out, they're already going to take a $4.9 billion charge. We already know this, but they have a lot of good setup going forward, okay? So you can't be negative on this, but you have to learn that when you get to these areas, see where you have this overbought condition here, you got to take some off the table, okay? Now, if you want to wait and hold this and come all the way down again and try to win it all the way up, that's not how I trade, okay? When I see this area here, if I miss a little bit, I don't care. I got that big trade all the way from down here all the way up to here, okay? Now you're rolling on down, and now your green is coming over. But when you see these overbought condition situation, it's going to come off. Even look at Apple here. See, we got to this overbought situation, came down, and then what happened to it? It just absolutely collapsed straight on down. Okay, so always look at that RSI. It tells you a lot in advance. Okay, let's take a look here now at Meta and at Google. Okay, here we have Meta. Now, here's a perfect example of the RSI. See how we got to this overbought scenario here? And that's what we had here, okay? Then look what happened. It just right off the cliff, okay, when we get to that area. Now, you can see here we retested it here, and it came right back off again, okay? So always watch that RSI. Now, your MACD looks like it wants to curl over, looking like a little sideways action at least, okay? So now you have a lot of good support. What we're watching on the downside is this 100 SMA right here, okay? So you're looking at that. Let me see if I can get it in there. There you are, 616.51. If that's lost here, we have this 21-day at 607. Now, I want to make sure that you look at always at this gap right here, okay? See right there? That's 621.03. Now, if that's lost here, we have this the fill at 606.97, okay? So your gap, your fill, we have the 21-day, 200-day, and 50 SMA. But when you look at this chart here, there's a lot of good big gaps here. If we lose all this key support level, then we have the bottom of this candle right here. You're looking at 570. There's your gap. And then we'll look to the top of this candle here. You're looking at 549. But we also have another gap all the way down here at 516. And then we have that fill sitting here at 506. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be done today, okay? But if this does sell off and gets hammered, then look at these gaps. That'll be your support level. If it starts going into the gap, then you have to look to the fill, okay? Then if it keeps right on going, we look to the next gap, and then we look to that fill kind of a situation, okay? But now, on the upside, you can see here all the 8-day is starting to roll over, and that's going to provide very, very strong resistance here now on the old meta. Okay, so 640.17 is what you're looking at. If you can somehow get above that, you got 646.61, and then we're looking at 662 level up here. Now, we have a lot of good targets if you can break that, but let's just see if we can get through that 8-day on the upside. Let's see if it consolidates here and maybe take it right back up here again. But watch that 100-day. That's going to be very, very key. 21-day, 200-day, and 50-day, so you have a lot of good support. But that doesn't mean it can't blow right through here, just like we had here, okay? And then look, we have the 8-day. When that price gets below that 8-day, then you're fighting it the whole way until you get all the way on down. And then what it does, it goes right to the next level, that 21-day. See, same kind of a chart. Until you crack back above them, then you can rally back up here. But just, this is a sideways action, but we had this level here where you get to that overbought, so you got to be very, very careful. Now, Google here, well, this here actually isn't looking really that bad here right now, okay? So your RSI is only sitting at 59. Green is over your head, shows good momentum there. Now, we have a nice, good series. Let's see, low, higher low, and now we're above that 8 SMA here. So this is really looking pretty good. So on the downside, what you do is you want to watch that 166.82. That's the 8-day. If that's lost, we'll come to the bottom of this candle here, 163.56, and then we look for your 21-day at 162. And then we have your 50 SMA here at 159 level, okay? So that's what you got for really good support. Now, when you look at the chart here, you had this big downtrend going on, but now we're reversing that downtrend. But you can see where it tried to pop through yesterday, but just couldn't quite make it. So what price has to do is get back above that 200 SMA here, okay? And then this key level is going to be this 100 SMA at 172 level. Now, if you can get above that, then what we'll do is we'll look at this at the retest going on here at that 176. But what I want to show you is if this can break and close above this level, look up here what we have, okay? We have this gap. That's 192. That's going to be your big target, okay? And then if it starts going in, then what we can do is get to this fill level, which is that 202.81, and then retest of 207 here. But right here, this downtrend is broken, and now it looks like it wants to curl up. Same way here in Meta, the downtrend is broken. However, we got to see, this is like that overbought, where this never really got overbought kind of a situation here. So let's just see how this shakes out. But maybe Google here looks like it's going to be a really, really good chart where you have that series of higher lows, and then we're above that key level 8-day, where this here, you're down below that 8-day kind of a situation, and we got to rally back up. Okay, that's all I got for you. I'll be back here after your pit close, and we'll take a look here at Bitcoin, crude oil, natural gas, look at gold, we'll look at silver, and then we'll look at the indexes, the old Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. Now, remember, don't be so complacent. Just remember, when you have profits, put them in your pocket. I'll give you a perfect example. IBIT, I sold it this morning at, what did I sell that? IBIT, I sold that at 63.17. Now IBIT is sitting at 61.77 level, okay? I just got up this morning here, and it was right before, it was about 20 to 7, and I seen this rolling up here, but I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart, and I can see how top heavy this is, okay? Boom, I am out of the trade, and now what I'm looking for is, to rebuy it. I should have taken the short ski on it, because that probably would have been a good trade there too, but I didn't. I just sold out the long. So as the market is moving up, I'm start selling as this is moving on up here, because I just think there's going to be a big time correction going to be coming in the oil market. Okay, trade what's in front of you. Now what you want.